Exciting stuff. Test scale is particularly exciting. It's an area that I've talked to many of you about in the past, a gap in sort of this type of measurement for high volume production tests and electronics. So looking forward to that. And shout out to the partners that we highlighted there, Averna, Booster, and Circuit Check. Averna is helping us compete with those GM videos. That was pretty cool. Okay, the last speaker that we have here this morning is going to give us a glimpse of how they're using common test systems across their development flow, along with data and analytics to get some of the world's most complex semiconductors to market faster than ever before. Please welcome from Qualcomm, Gaurav Verma. Gaurav.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining. I mean, look, you're right in the middle of so much of the innovation that's happening in the mobile industry, innovation that we all use every day. So let's start with your perspective on the evolution of that technology and what's happening in your industry.
Absolutely, absolutely. Today we are privileged to take advantage of 5G as a consumer across the board, as a day-to-day thing. We are streaming high-definition videos real-time across the board. We are tethering our phones to get broadband internet. We have better coverage at all locations where we had never imagined it before. Innovation in wireless technology over the last 5 decades has what has made this possible. The key thing to remember is that the innovation that you see normally on a phone, better screens, better camera, perfect. However, this 5G is also driving innovation within our semiconductor industry and companies like us to be able to build, design, and manufacture chips like never before.
Yeah, and this is something I wanted to emphasize because as consumers, we all kind of take for granted this incredible technology and how it changes, but it doesn't happen by accident. It happens because engineers at Qualcomm and other companies are working relentlessly at every single step of the process to drive massive innovation. So how do you drive sort of breakthrough innovation across your product development and test teams?
I think one of the key things, one of the biggest challenges is the sheer complexity in the scope that has changed over from 3G to 5G. Over the past 5 decades, we have seen a 50x increase in throughput going from 3G to 5G. However, that same 50x throughput has caused over 500,000x increase in the number of test cases.
Which is mind-blowing.
The sheer number of cases that we have to cover, it's just unimaginable now. At the same time, 5G has also required us innovations in the measurement methodology itself. We have new millimeter wave band skin coming up with 2839 gigahertz, which require changes and innovation in the entire packaging technology. In a millimeter wave module, we have the RF front end and the antennas combined together as a part of an AIP device. We've been working extremely closely with the NI's engineering team to make sure we are able to use and utilize the over-the-air measurement techniques, which are the new requirements for AIP devices, and that has helped us to work closely with your team for the PXI solution that can help for both RF measurements and closed-loop motion control, and we have been able to increase our throughput by over 40%.
Wow.
Over the time, we have also continued to evolve the OTA solution even more. Going beyond 44 gigahertz, we have been working closely with NI as the lead user on the next generation millimeter wave technology that will allow us to actually enable it up to 54 gigahertz.
Absolutely, yeah, and you're probably seeing a theme because it's another area where we have a lead user that we've been deliberately working with to make sure that we can get technology to market with the needs that you have in the time frame that you need it to hit these very tight market windows. And so we really appreciate, by the way, your teams work with us as a lead user. You
Absolutely.
Push us on features and specifications to make sure that it can meet those needs. Now, advanced RF instrumentation is one challenge. Another is just the time horizon that you have. Can you talk about how these shorter and shorter cycles impact your organization?
I think that's a great point, actually. Teams like mine are under enormous pressure to be able to reduce the time that it takes to validate, characterize, and put the RAM to production than ever before. A decade ago, we used to have to around 24 months when we got our first engineering samples to when we were shipping our first customer samples. Even beyond that, it would take another 7 to 8 months before we ship our first million units. But now, the time it takes from the engineering samples to the first million units would be less than 6 months.
Which is incredible.
It's absolutely, yeah. Exactly. So now with this, we can't continue to approach tests in the same old way. We have to find new ways to be able to move from one phase of the development to another much more quickly. One of the approaches that we did working closely with NI is to standardize the hardware and the software across all of our labs. By standardizing this, we have been able to significantly reduce our RFIC characterization time. More recently, we expanded this approach to actually reuse the hardware software not just between the labs, but actually between the lab and the production environment itself. By developing a custom version of the NI's STS production test software, we have been able to reuse the test programs throughout the entire development cycle from conception to production itself.
Yeah, this is a really important milestone because this is a concept that lots of companies in this space have talked about for a long time. But not so many have achieved it. And in this case, this isn't just a vision you're describing. This is actually what you're doing today. So how did you achieve that? What did you have to overcome, and how did our teams help?
Absolutely. So one of the key decisions we made several years ago was to combine our characterization and manufacturing test teams as a part of the same organization. This has enabled us to efficiently share both the best practices and the test programs between them and significantly reduce the characterization and the correlation time. To maximize this benefit, we have been working closely with the NI's STS team so that we have a seamless software between your production to the characterization and back and forth on that.
Yeah. So throughout today, we're going to be talking about the role of data and advanced analytics to accelerate product development. How are you using these technologies today? And tell us about your vision for how you'll use them in the future.
I agree. I think data is going to be critical. Let's start with the manufacturing environment, where we must carefully balance the trade-offs between cost, quality, and yield to make sure we have the best thing going to the consumer. Today, we are using the NI's Optimal Plus analytics software to drive improvement in the product quality and also supplier management. These tools allow us to manage the data collection and analysis across our entire OSAT ecosystem. This has allowed us to benchmark one supplier versus another and make sure we are able to deliver the highest quality product at the best cost to our customers in the end. In addition, we have enabled new tools within the O+, which have allowed us to do things like outlier detection, which has significantly improved our outgoing quality. This has also enabled us to give better feedback back into the fab and the assembly process, and this will enable us to actually leverage this data to enable more AI and machine learning capabilities in the future. There's often a duplication of effort across each phase of the design process. Imagine a future state where the new device's target specifications drive the EDA simulation parameters and the test program both in the characterization lab and in manufacturing. Not only would this accelerate the time to market, but it would also improve the device models themselves in terms of simulation, and actually the future version of the product will be much better in terms of both quality and in terms of cost in the NRE that we have to spend to enable that. The idea of using AI and machine learning to integrate test capabilities with advanced analytics might seem far-fetched to many of you, or even a bit scary. However, this reality is not far away in the future. We are excited to share this vision of future of tests with NI and excited to work together on making this as a reality.
That's awesome. It's really on the leading edge. And again, the application is so impactful to everyone that uses a mobile device. So thank you.
Thank you,
for sharing. Yeah. Very cool.